Hey, I'm Kristin, and this is Locked in a Closet, a podcast where my friends and family come on and try to give me the creeps by telling me stories of true crime, paranormal, urban legends, and all things spooky. Today, I have my sister-in-law Rebecca on with me. If you follow me on Instagram and you see all of the cute kids that I post, she's their mother. I've known her, I don't even know, 5 years? Maybe 6 years, maybe? I have no idea how long her and Kyle have been together. But yeah, she has some really interesting stories that I've never heard of before this podcast, so that's really exciting. I'm pretty much just going to get into it now because we talked for a really long time. Huge thanks again to Rebecca for coming on this week.
So I think I want to start just by mentioning where my interest in the occult and true crime and, ghosts and stuff like that. And I think I might have been like 10 or 9. And I got a ouija board.
Oh God.
To play with my friends. Probably one of my friends. I don't think a lot of my friends were interested. But and then I had these like Wicca books. I thought I was like, going to be Wicca, and I remember doing a couple like weird spells and strange things and like reading about it and like trying to summon spirits with the ouija board, and then strange things happening in my house and me being spooked out. Now, I can't say for sure if these things have any meaning or if they were anything, or if I was just young and easily scared. But I remember once I started doing that, of course, then I became more aware of like little things that were happening. And I was home at lunchtime for my lunch hour with my friend Kendra. And I went to the bathroom upstairs and I came back downstairs. And then we went to go back to school. And I like couldn't open the door handle for some reason. And I was like, it's not locked, but it was like someone was holding it and then it gave.
Oh, weird.
And I was like, that's weird. And I was like, wait a minute, I hear something. And I went upstairs and the water was running in the bathroom. And I was like, I was the last person up there. And I totally shut the water off.
Oh my God.
And it scared the hell out of me. So I came down. I was like, the water's on upstairs, like to my friend. And then the TV turned on.
Oh my God.
The TV. And I was like, we got to get out of here. Because it was like the combo of the door handle, the water upstairs, and the TV.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm not positive, but that stands out in my mind as a moment that I like veered away from it. Because I was so young and scared.
And it's not like it was one thing. Like, that was 3 things in like such a short period of time. Like, that's going to freak anybody out.
And then I think the following week, I just picked up on a lot of strange things that were happening. Like, I felt like things were moved around in my bedroom and things would fall. And I was like, how did that fall? How did it fall,
I hate that.
So then I stopped, like, with the Wicca and, like, I got rid of the Ouija board and I got away from it.
Did anything happen on the Ouija board when you used it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then how do you know it's not your friend doing it?
Yeah, I've never used a Ouija board because my mom used one when she was a kid.
Yeah.
And it ended up spelling out the, like, super rare disease that her dad died from.
And she swore it off after
that.
and
she's like, never. And she told me that when I was young, and I was like, I'm never touching it.
That's the thing. I'm kind of spooked about it, but I also want it so bad in my life. Yeah. So I actually got a Ouija board, like, a year ago off the free site. And this girl I know, she sent me a message on Facebook and she was like, I really hope you're not planning on using that. And please don't bring it into your house, leave it in your car. And I was like, thanks for creeping me out even more. I left it in my car for half of a year.
Oh my God.
Okay. I didn't bring it in my house. And then someone on the site was looking for one to like frame it as a prank or something. And I was like, I have one you can have. And I gave it away. So I never used it.
Never even opened the box.
So, but I still want to do it with like adults that I know wouldn't like move it and like, but it creeps me out, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do I want to lose sleep? I don't know.
Yeah. Just don't do it in your house.
Yeah. So after that, the next kind of paranormal thing was, I had a friend named Chantel, and she was very bipolar, and unfortunately, she took her life. She committed suicide and hung herself. And that is kind of like the only funeral I've ever been to with an open casket and whatnot. And I think, how old was I? I think I was 16 or 17 when it happened. Sounds about right. And after that, I think it might have been like half a year later, I started having really like strange dreams with her in them.
Oh.
So I'd see her in my dream. Like I'd be somewhere. I'd be at a party or something, or I'd be at a mall.
I just get chills.
And she'd be there and I would talk to her, but she'd never talk to me. I got the same blank stare from her in my dream every time. But the weird part is I would wake up after the dream and I'd be like, that felt too real. Like, you know when you have a dream and it's like so passive in your mind?
Yeah.
It would be like I saw her.
Yeah.
I'd wake up and it would feel like I saw her. Like it was different. So then I had this commitment. I was like, I'm going to get her to talk to me in my dream. I feel like there's something like she needs to say or something like
there's a reason why she keeps showing up.
Yeah. And she had given me this necklace because she went on a trip to Africa with her family, and it was like this beaded necklace, and it was misplaced in my room.
Oh.
I'm confident she moved it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I just remember finding it in a completely strange, weird spot than it was before. And then the one dream, I was at the mall, and I saw her, and I was so aware in my dream of what I was doing, of my goal of like getting her to talk to me. Mm-hmm. And I went up to her, and this is anticlimactic, but I was just like, what are you doing here? Who are you with? And she said, I'm just shopping with my mom. And then she smiled, and then she walked away. And somehow that was it. That was enough. It closed it. And I never dreamed about her again.
Oh my God.
And even though I tried to, and you go to sleep thinking about things, and sometimes you dream about them.
Yeah.
But it was like I literally was talking to her in my dream. It was very different. It's so hard to describe the feeling that was there. Mm-hmm. But it definitely wasn't just a dream. I feel like maybe she visited me or something.
Yeah.
And I had some sort of like halfway between like dream and reality situation happening.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
So that was really neat for me because I know there was something meaningful and different there. And then the next thing is a spooky thing that I'll tell you. And it's the only spooky encounter I've ever had in my entire life because nothing else was really that scary aside from the Ouija board spirit Wicca incident. But this I know was real, and this I know happened, and this scared the shit out of me. So I used to live beside a graveyard.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I used to live beside a graveyard. When I was in Quebec, I lived there for 5 years. And nothing weird ever happened. It's just this one night, this one incident. So, when you're sleeping and you're like half awake, half asleep. So if you wake up in the morning, you're like, I kind of remember throwing my pillow on the ground. Mm-hmm. I kind of remember like waking up in the middle of the night and drinking all my water and going back to sleep. But like, unless there's the evidence, you wouldn't think of it. Like, unless the pillow was on the floor, you wouldn't think I did something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was kind of that in between, like, deep sleep moment. And I remember I was laying on my bed. I don't know what time it was. Maybe 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 1 a.m. I'm not sure. And at the time I was dating a guy, and I feel like it's important to mention just because of what my grandmother says about it. I was actually, I don't know if I was engaged at that point, but I was dating a guy who was in the military, and he was stationed in Iraq. And we would just Skype call. Mm-hmm. It was very dangerous for him. And I was always worried about him.
Oh, yeah.
And so I kind of like come to a little bit on my bed in the middle of the night. And I look over to the side. And my bed is right against the wall. So there's nowhere for someone to stand. And I look to the side, and it's so bright. I'm like, there's this like brightness. And I'm like, God. What is like, and I'm kind of waking up and coming to. And my eyes focus on this like female figure spirit thing. Okay. God. Legit. I like, it's so hard to even talk about.
Yeah, I have
goosebumps. It like creeps me out so bad. And so she's very slender. I felt like maybe she might have been like 40.
Okay.
Her 40s. She didn't seem really youthful. She didn't seem like an old person. She just seemed like a middle-aged lady. And she had this really long, wavy, flowy hair. And she was wearing this like sheer scarf.
Okay.
Decorative, right? This like floral blouse. I can just picture it so vividly. It was like a purple like blouse and like jeans.
Okay.
But like not like the trendy jeans that are tight fitting now,
right?
Slim fit, like normal jeans. And she's just, and I'm gonna try and describe because I'm standing up to show you. She just has her arms out like this.
Oh God!
Like an angel or something. She has her palms facing and her outward like towards me and her arms straight down, and she's just like, and the light is coming straight from behind her head, so I can't see her face. I can just see like a silhouette of her, some details of what she's wearing, and I know she has a really long blonde kind of like crimpy, like wavy hair. And I like choked up. I'm staring at this. I'm like 20 something, and I just like could not, like I couldn't scream. I couldn't breathe.
Oh my God.
I like managed to fall out of my bed because I couldn't like stand up out of my bed because I was paralyzed in fear. I like fell out of my bed and kind of like low squat crawled towards my door and ran out of my room and turned all the lights on and immediately like called my mom and called a friend. It was like 3 a.m. or something. Yeah. Just terrified, absolutely terrified. I'm like, what was that? But I didn't get a feeling of like,
it wasn't like malicious.
Danger.
Yeah.
No, it felt like an angel of some sort.
But still, you don't really want to wake up and see that.
No. So then my mom, she tells me, she's like, well, what if something happened to Jared and it was an angel trying to give you a message or something? And so then I was like worried about him.
Yeah.
And I Skype called him but he was fine. So I still don't know to this day like what that was. My grandma says it was my guardian angel.
But why would she come to you in the middle of the night?
I have no idea.
Weird.
So, but like, why would there be an angel coming to me from the graveyard? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just know that I had a friend over for like a week after that, and I slept very poorly for a long time.
Yeah, I don't.
The lights on.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, I don't know what that was.
That's so scary.
Like, I didn't recognize her as someone from my life.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so weird.
Isn't that strange?
That's so weird.
And this one incident, maybe it was a mistake. I don't know. Probably.
How long did you live there?
Like 5 years.
Really? Mm. And that was the only thing?
The only thing.
I mean, that's lucky for you. I'd much rather that than friggin'
because I lived right
constantly
next to a graveyard, yeah. So
yeah.
No, nothing else weird happened in that apartment.
That's
just
so weird.
This one visit from this lady.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That freaks me out.
I know. And I'm still kind of waiting, you know, to understand it because it's never really come across as anything to me.
Yeah. That was a while ago, too, right? You said it was like early 20s?
Yeah, this would have been probably like a decade ago now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, at least a decade.
So weird.
Aging myself.
We can cut that out.
So, originally I wanted to talk to you about West Memphis 3. Mm-hmm. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about that was because when I first heard about the story of the West Memphis 3, it was through a podcast called True Crime Garage. Mm-hmm. Which took me a while to get into because I thought they were a little dry, but they're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And the telling of the story and how the one police officer finds the bodies just really shook me to my core. Mm-hmm. Because the way that it was described was so spooky to me and so unreal. This guy is on his knees in murky swamp water feeling through for a dead body. Mm-hmm. How do you do that?
I know.
You're feeling like, what's that? What's that? Like, I'm scared to even feel seaweed in murky water.
I know.
Let alone a deceased small child.
I know. It's so sad.
Just horrifying. And after he finds one, he keeps going. This man is a hero.
I know.
So that was the main reason I kind of wanted to talk to you about that case, was just for that one scenario. Because when I remember listening to the podcast and hearing them describe that and just being like shook, just mortified.
Okay, like you'd never get over that.
No, that is
and like they were so young. They were 8.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
And there's still no answers.
No. Oh my God. Like I literally could talk about this forever because it bugs me so much. Like, obviously, I don't believe that Damien and Jason and Jesse did it. But what bugs me so much is that because they took the Alfred plea, like, they're just not looking into it anymore.
Yeah.
Because, like, technically they're guilty, but they're not. And they need to look into Terry Hobbs, and they need to look into the guy that was at Bojangles. Do you know about the Bojangles guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Absolutely.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
They just, there's more cases that press them, and they just... That's how they just deal with it. They just say, oh, well, goodbye. Done with that. I agree, though.
It's crazy.
Speaking of cases that are kind of still open and being solved, the one that drives me nuts, not because it's not solved, but because I just can't get over how this serial killer did things, is the Golden State Killer, which he was also called, like, the East Side He was under a few names until they realized it was all the same guy.
Yeah.
Like raped 50, killed 13. He just admitted in court with a face shield, hello 2020 pandemic. He just pleaded guilty in June, the end of June.
Crazy,
he just pleaded guilty finally.
Oh my God.
To his. So are you familiar with like his methodology and like what he did?
I know I've looked into it before, but honestly, like
know,
they
I
all
mixed some
kind
of them
of
up.
mush together. Yeah.
Same. So this guy, this freak would, first he just started with women that lived alone because there's no risk for him,
Right.
essentially. And he would rape them and just be very strange with like tying them up and then tearing through their belongings and raping them and then going to the kitchen and drinking one of their beers and then coming back and raping them and then pretending to talk to somebody even though he was the only one there and then leaving without them even knowing he was leaving.
Yikes.
You know? And then in the media they would talk about him and say how he was a chicken because he would do it to single women. So then he started targeting couples and he would tie the man up, put plates and dishes on the man.
Yeah, to hear if they would get up.
If they would move. Yeah. And I heard about it on Case File, which is a podcast that I like too. Mm-hmm. And that one messes with me because he did it for so long. And he tortured these people for like hours. He would go into their house, tie them up, rape them, rummage through their belongings, tear up their bedding and their linens, gag them, and I don't know that. And have you seen him? You got to look this guy up.
I don't think I have.
Oh my Lord, he just looks like a hollow soul.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's one of my more favorite stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you, I'm sure you've heard of it, but like have you looked into the Madeleine McCann?
Yes.
Do you know that like they're finding stuff now?
Yeah, they're actually, it was reopened, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
There
and they
was,
may have found like an underground like bunker kind of thing of the guy that
What?
did it. Yeah.
I didn't know they found an underground bunker.
That's what I read last week.
I know that they were looking into one of the guys that was like working there. Was it someone in the area?
Have you ever seen Lovely Bones?
Yeah.
That's what I've been picturing.
Okay.
Is like something like that.
Oh,
but I don't
okay.
know. Obviously,
That was a great movie.
That one. Yeah, I know. That was
Lovely
such a good
Bones.
movie.
Watch it if you haven't seen it.
It's so good. Yeah.
That is bizarre. And how come they didn't find that in the beginning?
I know. It's so strange. That whole thing is just so sad.
I find it really sad that, I mean, I don't want to pass judgment on the parents, but how do you leave your kids that far away?
I know.
I could not do that.
I know. Even if you are checking on them, like it takes like
they just
3 seconds,
especially
for
when
them
they're
to
old
do
enough
something.
to walk away.
Yeah, I know. It's so sad. Oh, I could never.
I hope they come to closure for that.
I do too. That's been a long time.
How long has that been?
It was 2007.
2007 when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So long, but not too long that they can't.
Oh, they could still do something about it. Like, I'm sure the guy's still alive. It's crazy. So what was like the first case that you ever heard of that got you into like true crime stuff? Do you remember if there was one that stuck out?
The first case that ever got me into true crime, that's a good question. I don't think there was one. I think that my interest in true crime started when I lived with my friend Dana.
Oh, really?
And she was already interested in watching like forensic files and what have you not on TV. And we would get together and we would watch dramatic things. Like there was an Oprah show, I Survived.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's
and they would
such a good
retell their
one.
like insane stories of survival.
Yeah.
And then there was Intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we were into these like really intense shows. And so we started watching true crime together. And we loved it because it was intense. Mm-hmm. And we loved it because we're like, okay, if we watch this, we're going to be smarter about not being victims.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
So that's why we got into that. And I think that's how it all started. There wasn't really a case or anything like that really drew me in. It was just the whole, I don't know, intenseness of it. And I find it so neat how people get away with murder or how they get caught. Like the littlest things. I remember one of the forensic files was this guy got caught because he crawled in through a window and he stepped on a tomato in the garden outside. and they pulled his shoe print off this
Off the
freaking
tomato?
squished tomato.
Oh my God.
And caught him from this little thing. And I find that so interesting, the forensics of it.
Yeah.
The little, I think I'm more interested in the forensics than the actual murders.
Yeah.
It's shocking to hear about the murders, but it is so fascinating to hear the forensics behind it.
Oh yeah, and frustrating too. Like on it with a case like West Memphis 3 and
Unsolved
stuff.
ones,
like,
right?
You're like, hello, like I
When
could
they
do a better
didn't
job
do
at
DNA.
this.
Yeah, exactly. What year was it that they started doing DNA? It was very recent. Was it like 2008?
Hang on, let me look it up.
Look it up. So, for cases that have DNA collected that they can go back and test, I wonder what the backlog is of that.
It says in 1986 they used DNA.
Well, I mean, I guess that's when
that
they
was
started.
like the first one that they did.
But I mean, it's progressed since then.
Oh yeah,
to be able to the smaller blood samples being tested and what have you. So yeah, the forensics of it is so fascinating. It made me want to be like a forensic analyst.
Yeah.
And work on cases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To help out.
When I graduated high school, my plan was to take a year off and then to go into victimology. And then I was like, you know what? I'm way too emotional for this job. I would take everything so seriously. Or not seriously.
It's good to recognize that.
Heart. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, it takes a certain kind of person, maybe even someone that's like never going to have a family. And like,
yeah, exactly. Like you think about like all
detectives
the kids and
oh, I know.
Nope, not for me.
I know. I used to be able to listen to horrendous murders of children and be like, meh.
And then you had the baby.
And then I had kids and I was listening to this case of this, like, this was just 2 weeks ago, not even. And I'm like bawling in my kitchen working. This little baby was 10 months old and a mere 7 pounds because
oh my God.
Because the mother, they didn't believe in modern medicine and they would never take their baby to the doctor. And they would never use formula. They didn't want to like buy formula and they didn't want to buy into quote unquote the pharmaceuticals and what have you not.
What did they give the baby?
This
water?
This woman would breastfeed the baby once a day before she went to work. Oh my God. And the baby would be in the crib the entire time. I guess the crib was stained with mold and
oh my God.
The baby didn't even have enough like energy to cry and ask for help, and it just passed away of like malnutrition.
Oh my God.
And this person's like, this guy is defending himself saying, this is what we did with all of our children, like, and they're fine, and this is God's will, this is what God would want. And
oh, dear God.
And she seemed small, but she seemed fine to us. She seemed like a happy baby. And it's like, how do you not know something's wrong when your 10-month-old is the size of a newborn?
Yeah, really. Or smaller than some newborns.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So anyway, I didn't like hearing that.
No, that's so sad. I don't like hearing that, and I don't even have kids.
Yeah, so yeah, bless your heart after you have a kid.
Oh my God, yeah.
You'll be like, turn it off. You won't even be able to.
Yeah, this will be strictly paranormal stories.
When I hear it and I start to feel kind of emotional about it, I'm like, it's just a story. It's fine. Your babies are okay. And I can like take myself out of it.
They're protected.
Yeah.
And they're healthy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Otherwise, it's so sad.
Yeah.
So, what if I asked you a question? What if I asked you what the most interesting Canadian case is to you? Because I know a lot of serial killers are predominantly in the States for some reason.
Oh, I don't remember his name.
What did he do?
He killed a bunch of people and then fed them to his pigs.
Oh, this sounds familiar.
It was like within the last 20 years because I remember it happening and I was like, oh my God. Hang on.
No, I know this. And he had a big property, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know this. And
Canadian serial killer.
Did he live on a farm with his wife?
Robert Picton is his name.
Yes, I heard this case.
Yeah, that one kind of fucked me up.
Yes, I heard about him on Canadian True Crime.
Yeah.
Which is another one of my favorite podcasts. I'm just going to name drop all of my favorite podcasts.
Yeah, he was arrested in 2002. So, I remember that happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Did we eat those pigs?
If you don't listen to Canadian True Crime, I suggest you do.
I don't. I think he told me to the other day, but then I was like, I just have so many to add. But yeah, that would be interesting because it's like more close to home, eh?
I just swim through them because I listen to them when I work all day long. But I can while I work because I don't have to think about anything else.
Yeah.
So, and I need to mute out all the children. So it
But they're so cute.
my ears. Well, they're distracting. That's the thing.
I know.
They're very distracting.
Trust me, I know.
Robert Picton, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that one was messed up.
And there was a nurse too. There was a nurse that killed like over 150 patients. What was her name? Elizabeth something, and she was Canadian, and I can't remember where it happened. I want to say Toronto, but I think I'm wrong.
Recently?
In the past decade.
Okay.
In the past decade, it was in the newspaper.
Oh.
Yeah. She killed many, 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 many people in this hospital. She just gave them wrong doses of things, and they just died. And the reason she was able to get away with so much was because she went from hospital to hospital, and none of the hospitals ever put anything negative on her history. So
Elizabeth
Wetlaufer,
it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was a lesbian, and not I don't want to say she wasn't proud of it, because she never had an opportunity to be proud of it, but she hid it from her family, and she internalized it, and she had a lot of anger and loneliness because of it. And so as a nurse, she just ended up killing, like, how many? I want to say close to 200. So many people. And they'd be like, oh, interesting. When Elizabeth is working, people die.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah. But it's so unreal how many she could get away with before
they noticed.
And how that they would suspect strange. Oh, yeah, she stole drugs, too, for herself.
Yikes.
Yeah, she was a hot mess. So, yeah, when you're working in a hospital around people and giving them medicine that can kill them, perhaps maybe you want to put a permanent history on their resume so that they can't get hired other places.
My God.
Right?
That's horrible. I couldn't find how many people she killed, but I'm sure
a lot. I think it was close to 200. It was a lot. Any other hot question you want to ask me?
I don't think so. I really am just interested in, like,
my angel experience.
Yeah, that I didn't know about that.
I know.
Tell me about that. That's so cool.
It doesn't freak me out anymore, of course, but I kind of want to understand it. Like, why was she there? What was she trying? What was she doing? Like, I don't know.
Do you believe in psychics?
I don't know.
I feel like a lot of them are probably phony, but I think that there are some real ones.
I think it's hard for me to believe in psychics because I feel like it could be so easy to predict something.
Yeah.
To read people and then say something.
Yeah.
My friend Dana went to one twice, and she's always very moved by it, you know. And, you know, she said something about her dad that no one else would know and all that kind of stuff. And I also had a friend, Emily, who's, like, in Texas. She lives, like, in the States now, Tennessee or something. And she was really into it, too, and she's been read. I'd be so skeptical being read. I'd be one of those people that would be like,
Yeah.
Like, I'd be, like, on them. I wouldn't be, like, so naive to what they were saying.
Yeah, I think that's important, too. Like, no matter what, I think that you shouldn't just jump at everything. Because you never know. They could have Googled you beforehand.
I think there's something to it. I think some people are more in tune than others.
Yeah.
Right? Because my old friend Emily, I have to say old friend because, like, we're really not connected anymore. She has this strange connection with animals. Very strange. Like, she never met an animal that didn't love her.
Really?
And she could find any animal under a car, out in the wild, and it'd be in her arms, melted like butter.
Oh, wow.
Which I don't think a lot of people can do.
No.
You'll see a stray cat outside and it runs away.
Yeah.
You know, but, like, I swear every animal she's ever come into contact to is like butter in her arms. She has this, like, strange connection with animals. Mm-hmm. And so I know that has nothing to do with being psychic. but I think it shows that some people have different intuition.
Yeah.
Right? And some people have different connections. And I do think it's about keeping something open in yourself, you know, some sort of mental portal. It's kind of like manifesting your future, right? You want something in your life, you think about it, you work towards it. And I think it has something to do with that. Just like if you are one of those people that's really sensitive and open to it, if you make it your life, I think you can be more into it than others who are closed off to it.
Right. My mom and I have a friend named Pat who...
I know Pat. She
used to work at my store. Yeah.
I met her a few times.
Yeah, she does like card readings and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And when she had first started out, she came over to my house and she did one for me. And this was like probably, I don't know, like 5 years ago or so. And it started out and she's like, okay, I need you to just like think of like the overall question that you want from this and write it down. Don't tell me what it is. Just like for you,
like what you're
figure out
seeking
what,
from it.
yeah, like what you want from this. And I was like, okay. And I think I wrote down like, am I going to be like truly happy, like in the long run? Because it was when I was in my past relationship and I was like not feeling it
you're
anymore.
questioning
And
things, like, is this happiness? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, is this really what I have? Like, no offense, it was just not like wasn't what was supposed to be happening. So I did that, and then she pulled the 3 cards. One was for past, present, and future, and then I don't remember what the first 2 were, but they were like spot on. I remember being like, what the fuck? Like, that's insane. And then the 3rd card, she flipped it over, and it was on the photo. I don't remember what the card was called, but it was a man, a woman, and like a little girl in a picture, like with a house in the background. And she's like, yeah, so like this could, like, it doesn't have to mean that it's a man and a woman and like a little girl like in a house, whatever. It could be whatever you think. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So like it like made sense at the time. I was like, whatever, it's great. Like, we're gonna buy a house, blah blah blah. And then fast forward, like I broke up with my ex, found Michael. He has a daughter, and like it was crazy. Like, if I look back on it now, I'm just like, okay, that's really literal, but like it's very accurate. Like, and now I'm actually happy. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. It worked for me.
I think situations like that, you can make them or you can't make them. Like, you can be like, oh, I accept that for the reasons that I want to believe, or like, I don't. It's vague. It could mean all these other things too. I don't know. I guess I'm very skeptical.
I think it's good to be skeptical, because I am too, to a point, but like that one, I was just like, oh my God.
So if I had never had that angel experience, I'm going to call it an angel, because I mean, light behind her head, floating, looking angelic, very blissful. If I had never have had that, and you said to me, do you believe in ghosts? I'd be like, no, because nothing's ever happened to me.
Right.
You know, like, I've never witnessed anything. But after that, I have to say, yes, I believe in the afterlife. Yes, I believe in something. Because if I said no, I'd be like, well, then what was that?
Yeah, and I
didn't
like you were
imagine it.
Yeah.
You know I didn't imagine it, because I know it wasn't a dream. I've had dreams. I've woken up from dreams that seemed real, and then you're like, oh, that was a dream.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
that
but
was
this, you were awake.
Not a dream.
Yeah.
So I have to believe it, even though I still feel skeptical. You know, because it doesn't happen. If it's your whole life, you take you're alive 70 to 90 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And you maybe have 2 encounters in your whole life.
Yeah. So but if you're strong enough, then it's like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah. So how can you go by every day thinking, yes, it's real, when it's so rare?
Yeah.
You know?
For some people have to deal with it a lot more often.
A lot more.
And I feel really bad for them, because I would shit my pants. It's so scary.
But you get used to it, don't you? You get used to it thinking, okay, like, I've never been unsafe. I've never, like, these things are happening, and, you know, culture trains me that it's scary, but is it? Yeah. Is it scary? Like, was that scary if I had opened my eyes and I'd turned my light on and it went away and I went back to sleep and been like, well, I guess I saw an angel. Guess I'll go back to sleep now.
Yeah. I think it's more jarring.
Yeah.
Just to open your eyes and see a figure standing by your bed.
Just because it's so rare, but, you know, I don't know. I would totally be into, because, you know, life gets boring. I would totally be into, like, getting a Ouija board and trying something, or, you know, feeling a bit more of that. Okay, so my dad, I never talk about my dad because, like, he's passed. Mm-hmm. and he was not a figure in our life. He was a very bad guy. He was abusive to my mom, and he abused drugs and alcohol, and he was in jail. And I'm positive I have other siblings. There's no way I don't have other siblings. Maybe one day I'll find them.
I could help you. I love Ancestry.
Oh, really? I've never looked into it.
Oh my God, I love it.
Okay,
Mom
so
and I do it all the time.
Help me find my siblings. Because I am 100% sure I have other siblings. I feel like I talked to a sister of mine on the phone when I was younger.
Oh, really?
I swear I did. And I can't talk to my mom about it because her memory is really bad.
Yeah.
Like, what is she going to remember?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I remember having a conversation with a girl about my age on the phone when I was much younger. Maybe I was like 9 or 11. And just being like, this is my half-sister. And then it kind of
Did somebody tell you that, or did you just know?
I think there was a very short period in my life where I was reconnected with my father. So he did abuse my mom, and he was put in jail when I was 5. Okay, and then when I was 11, he got out because I don't know, out from what. I don't know if it was from the abuse or from robbing a bank or something.
Right.
Like, he was a very bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to connect with us. And of course, us naive children wanted to connect with our fathers. So we went on a camping trip that ended poorly. And it was around that period that I had this conversation with this girl that I thought for sure was like my half sister at the time. Anyway, so the reason I bring it up is because I think it would be interesting to connect with my dad somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know why I would even want to. I don't know why I would imagine he would care. Would it just be negative because he was such a bad character? Would connecting with him only bring
like negative stuff?
Like, is he a bad spirit? Like, what do I know? Are there good spirits and bad spirits? Can bad spirits do bad things? Like,
I think definitely, but
you know what I mean?
My
So is he a bad spirit? And like, should I not try and like have some sort? Like, I don't want a connection with him. He gave me nothing as a child.
Yeah,
nothing.
It would just be interesting, really.
That's it. It would just be interesting. You know what I mean? But he is someone that is deceased. Because other than that, there's no one other than my friend Chantal.
Right.
Which I think I just would like leave her at peace. Yeah. I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, you've already kind of had your little
we had a little connection that felt like closure for some reason.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about my dad.
Yeah.
But part of me thinks it would be negative. It would just be
more of what you experienced when you were a kid.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, like, what am I expecting? An apology? You know what I mean? Like, I really don't think that would ever come.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But, yes, I'm interested.
Yeah. Maybe you can try to, like, get a dream thing going with him. Because that way you can just be like, oh, I'm awake. Goodbye.
Sometimes, okay, when Olive was a little baby, you know how kids are so innocent and they have this intuition, right? Mm-hmm. She would stare off and smile, and it would make me think it was my dad that she could see. And just the other day, I had Asher in my bedroom, and he was looking at me, smiling, and then I moved a little and realized he wasn't looking at me. He was staring off somewhere behind me, smiling at something.
Yeah, I like to think that's my nanny.
Yeah, see, that's a positive thought.
Yeah.
But, like, why?
At least he was smiling. It could be really sad if he was, like, terrified.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But, like, why? But I don't understand why anything positive would come from him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I never had any of that as a kid, so.
How old were you when you passed?
16. He passed away in prison of heart failure. Oh. I know.
Yikes.
I know.
So it's possible that he changed a little bit from the time that you saw him to the time that he passed.
Yeah. He did reach out and write us letters in prison and stuff. I think maybe he wanted to try, but he was victim of alcoholism and narcotics, and he could not get away from it. Yeah. And I don't think they made him a very good guy.
No.
So maybe in his sober afterlife, he has regrets. I don't know.
Maybe.
But anytime I've ever felt like, can my kids see him? Is he, like, around? Why else would I think of him if it wasn't actually some sort of presence that made me think of him?
Yeah.
You know?
That freaks me out. Ooh, like kids can
I know.
see that kind of stuff. Kathy and I were talking about that too.
I know, that's why I thought of
it. Yeah.
It's true though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what are you looking at? Why are you smiling looking over there? Like,
look at me.
It's like, yikes. Oh no, he's not looking at me. Ah!
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh.
I'd be so interested. Let's get a Ouija board, Kristin.
Oh God, no! I don't.
Come on, we can do it in my house.
Yeah, but then your babies are there.
Oh, they're fine.
You're like, yeah, they already see him, but whatever.
See, I tried to convince my friend Dana, and she was like, well, whose house are we going to go to? I was like, yours? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, what if we just did it outside somewhere? And she's like, that sounds worse. I was like, okay, I don't know. Like, I don't know where we do it. Like let's rent a room in a building.
Get like an Airbnb. And then...
yeah, so that we can leave, and we'll leave the board there too. We'll bury it.
Oh, God.
We'll
and then you'll get fined.
I know, right?
Yikes.
Well, thank you for helping me escape my children.
Thank you for coming on. It's fun. I really need to start actually ending these conversations that I'm having with people, because they always just kind of like drizzle out at the end and it's just me again. But anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks so much for listening. I got really good feedback from the first episode, which was really, really nice to hear. You guys were super nice. I don't know who's coming on next week as of the time that I'm recording this. It might be my mom, it might be my friend, might just be me. But yeah, I will definitely keep you guys posted. And until next time, stay spooky.